how are you supposed to find somebody in alignment with that? You're just gonna find somebody. You have got to do this, guys. It is a critical step, because if you don't, this is where you actually start to lose yourself. Then it's gonna be the oh shit moment. 11/11, we have to make this video now. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another Makeup Get Ready with me while I answer your questions. Actually, in today's video, I'm going to be answering one question because it deserves a video of its own. And that was how not to lose yourself in relationships. Relationships, they are the most beautiful thing about the human experience. They tell us the most about ourselves. I look like a Christmas tree. Hold up. What happens when us humans fall in love or get into relationships or have like a situationship? Well, we get a whole slew of emotions and chemical reactions that go on within the body that I want to say is nature's way, its cheat code of tricking us into reproducing with the chemicals of love. We're literally blinded, guys. We're literally blinded in the first stages of falling in love or getting into a relationship with people. It's during this falling in love stage or the honeymoon stage where everything is hunky-dory. You are obsessed with this person. They are just releasing endorphins inside your body. Well, your body's releasing endorphins in your presence when you're thinking about them. Everything feels elevated. You're in a good mood. Pain literally disappears during this time. I don't remember the exact chemicals that are released, but I think it's like oxytocin. Really healing chemicals is released during this time. That's what falling in love is. It's literally you're falling in love and you cannot stop yourself from falling. What happens when we do this is we're not seeing all the red flags and we're not actually feeling the triggers that are inevitably there, right? Because relationships, nonetheless, they're not all perfect. They are going to mirror back to us what we need to work on, right? So you're not aware of actually your triggers at this point. Even if you are feeling signs, say butterflies in your stomach, or you know, maybe some subtle hints here and there of like, I'm not sure if I really like that, but I'm just gonna ignore it for now type of stuff. You know, maybe it'll change in the future type of thing. This is where you actually start to lose yourself because these chemicals essentially have kind of hijacked your body. Now, I'm not saying that this goes for everybody. This is just in the person who feels that they have lost themselves in the relationship. You have probably started to do things that you are not in alignment with, but you're not really aware of it just yet. Or some things might kind of make you question a few things going on of like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. You know, these are like the little subtle hints and the red flags that pop up during this time that are foreshadowing you're on your way to probably losing yourself or thinking that you have lost yourself down the road. Another thing that happens is us humans naturally develop rapport around one another. What this means is it's a survival mechanism in which you subconsciously start doing things for the other person to like you. If you're a people pleaser, we do this 100 times over. It is just built into our human biology that we naturally just do this around people because when we see somebody as similar to us and agreeing with us, we like them, we accept them, and us humans want to be accepted. It's our natural biology because if you were accepted in the tribe, that meant safety, right? We will naturally start to do things subconsciously to where the other person feels safe around us and starts liking us. So what I've learned in NLP, one of these things is we actually start mirroring back actions that the other person is doing. It's very weird, but you do this subconsciously, especially if you are in your natural relaxed state. Meaning like relaxing your parasympathetic nervous system. You're not like trying to do something different consciously. This is an unconscious action that we do. Say like the person puts their hand on their face or something like that, you will literally like maybe do the same thing, or you'll do something similar with a hand movement, and this is signaling to their body that you are a safe person. Some wild shit, huh? When you really look at this stuff, guys, it's absolutely insane what we are, and we're not even aware of it. Let's go into into more of what I mean by losing yourself. And this is coming from somebody who has done that in every single freaking relationship. And I just want to clarify right now, it's you that is determining that you have lost yourself. It is you determining that you have strayed away from your authentic nature. And to understand this, when this happens, it's basically a self-betrayal feeling. It is doing actions or things out of alignment with your authentic nature that typically you wouldn't do. You're doing it for somebody else. You're basically becoming a different person, not in alignment with your truth, who you are as a person. And sometimes, guys, as you could see or you could tell from what I just discussed by our human nature and our biology, we don't even realize we do these things. When I think of like times that I have quote unquote lost myself in a relationship, I stopped hanging out with friends. I would go hang out with this person instead. I developed a level of codependency, essentially, if that's something you want to call it. And codependency is just like, I needed this person to provide something in me that I was not providing for myself. And another aspect of it too was that I needed to heal this person or help this person, or I had to basically sacrifice myself in order for them to be happy, to make them happy. And that was another level of codependency that I faced as well too, trying to heal other people's lives rather than sacrificing my own, going against myself, basically losing myself to then make somebody else happy, to feel loved, to feel like I was worthy. It's almost like a magnet, guys. You're almost like pulled towards that person and you cannot help but just go to it. It's not like I felt like I had free will. That's how strong the energy and the magnetic pull was between me and the other person or persons. This has been like every freaking relationship I've ever had. Hint, it's something that you have to heal within yourself to avoid this. You start adopting their energy. You start actually becoming like them. You start doing the things that they want to do, or even if it's not in alignment with you. And it doesn't have to be in your conscious awareness. You don't have to deliberately know like, oh, I don't really want to do that action, but I'm going to do it for this person, but it's not going to feel good, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. You can go ahead and do something and it not feel good, but be unaware how it's toxic towards you, right? You're choosing to do this action even though it doesn't feel right. It's still toxic for you. Basically, losing yourself is you're becoming more and more like this person, taking on their energy. You're becoming a different person, and this does inevitably happen whenever we get into relationships with people, because we become one, we become a unit, we start becoming the same energies. This is where it's super important, and who you choose as your partner, they need to be in alignment with you, with your needs in relationships and your desires in life, your values. They have to match up to you. And not a lot of people are even aware of what they need, what they desire in a relationship or even in life. And this is where it is important to test out and kind of date around a bit at one point in your life, so then you can understand what it is that you need and what your boundaries are and what you can and can't live without in a relationship, what your desires are in a partner or wants or needs. Like I said, it's super important to have that phase in your life, and not a lot of people get that. At one point in time, we feel like we're pressured to like find a partner, marry, settle down, start a family, and like start life and spend the rest of our lives with this person, when we don't even know who it is that we are yet, right? Let alone who it is that we are with this other person. Who is me by myself, right? This is my first tip in not losing yourself in a relationship, now that we're finally to this part of the video, is be so deeply rooted in who you are before you get into a relationship. You have got to do this, guys. It is a critical step, because if you don't know you and you don't know your quote unquote weaknesses or things you want to work on or desires or your needs or your values in your life, how are you supposed to find somebody in alignment with that? You're just gonna find somebody that makes you feel those chemicals that will suck you in to the relationship, and down the road when those chemicals wear off, then there's gonna be the oh shit moment. So essentially you have to have this self-discovery phase of who it is that you are, and it's actually kind of difficult, guys, because it's almost like society gives us an identity almost of like a roadmap of life, and I call it the American dream. And for not very many people step away from that, and so it's kind of like you have this roadmap, essentially something to follow from if you went from school to college and then out of college. You're like, okay, these are the next steps because the American dream says so, and you don't actually take the time to get to know yourself. You don't actually take the time to figure out what it is that you want in your life, who it is that you are, right? And actually start going after the things that you want in your life. Actually start developing a sense of self and a sense of worth. And this is part of it too. When we lose ourselves in other people, we essentially don't have a strong self sense of worth and being. My experience of the codependency and wanting to heal others, I found my worthiness being something for other people, trying to give them love as much as I could for them to accept me, and then I feel like I would be loved. If I could give them and heal them and be enough for them, then I could be enough for myself. That's what I was signaling to myself, and that's a sure shit fire way to lose yourself in somebody and your work. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. They are not going to heal from you trying to heal them. You're going to interfere with their karma, and you're going to take on their energy. That's what's going to happen. And then yours is going to go down. You cannot change somebody who does not want to change for themselves. You cannot change people into who you want them to be in the relationship, right? They have to do it for themselves. And you trying to change somebody to be who it is that you need them to be means that you are not providing your own needs and yourself, right? So therefore, you're stuck trying to heal this person and finding your worth rather than developing the sense of worth and the confidence on the inside by giving you what you need, which ultimately is love. So how do we go about developing confidence? It's taking action. Confidence equals action. And it's keeping promises to ourselves. It's doing the shit that we know we need to do rather than relying on other people to give it to us. And this is where we lose ourselves in other people, is when we have expectations on somebody to give us something that we cannot give ourselves. That is no bueno. That will cause a shit show in your relationships too. So the only way around this is to understand your needs. Let's go back to the loner period of understanding the self. Understanding what you need in your life, what doesn't feel in alignment, what doesn't feel good for you, right? What issues are you having in your life? This is where you develop that list of what I need to fix in myself, what bad thoughts am I having, why am I having them, why do I feel not in contact with myself with love. So it's figuring out what makes you feel good in your own life and then giving that to yourself, right? And then having that shit all lined out already before you get into a relationship, because then it just happens. The person doesn't need to give you anything. They just add value to you. You solving your own problems, going within, understanding what you need to give yourself. I mean, I say love, guys, but love can look like an action. Doesn't have to be self-love of like self-care, bubble bath type of thing. But it's taking responsibility for your life. There are 10 million different ways that people need to do that, right? So what does that look like for you? Maybe you need to go out and get a job, or developing some sort of skill, right? To make you feel good. Like that gives us confidence, guys. When we can provide shit for ourselves or learn a skill, that develops confidence. Or you can use the gym as a tool. Making goals and taking action to crush them, that develops confidence. You can think of it like strength training, right? You want to bring in a certain energy of being strong and being centered in your sense of self and a strong person. Go lift some weights to bring in that energy and create that within yourself, and then you will feel that on the inside. What does confidence look like for you? What does self-worth look like for you? And those are actually two different things. That's a whole nother video in itself. A sense of confidence is actions of doing things in life, setting goals, going after them. That's being confident. Self-worth is just being worthy to exist. You are worthy as you are. You're worthy of living life, of the deserving of the life you want to live. That's essentially the difference. Or maybe you thought that you had a sense of self-worth and your relationship is actually testing that for you. Let me tell you guys, I was in a very, very toxic relationship in high school with somebody who deliberately tried to bring my self-worth down, would call me names like trash. It was awful. And you understand why the person does this, to bring you down, right? When this happens, they bring you down to their level of vibration to keep you around. So then you don't develop that sense of self-worth, that sense of raising your vibration to then no longer be a match of vibration for that person, but then to leave them, right? So they keep you there. So essentially what happens is when people test our self-worth, or we feel a dip in our self-worth, right? When they do something that causes that, like say calls you names or tries to belittle you, put you down in some certain way that makes you question yourself, there's a sense of us unconsciously, or maybe consciously, that agrees with them, and that's why it affects us. That's why it brings us down, is because we're not strong in our sense of self to be like, you're gonna call me trash? Like, bye. Let me take out the trash. You know what I mean? That's what I should have done, right? But no, I didn't have a strong sense of worth back when I was 16 years old, and therefore believed that person, believed I could do no better, right? So that kept me stuck in the relationship that was toxic for me, aka losing yourself in a relationship because the authentic self knows it is worthy, knows it is love. It doesn't feel that dip in energy, and it would see that other person is just having issues on the inside, and you're mirroring back to them their own insecurities. 16-year-old Andy had no idea how this all worked. And this is why we make these videos, in hopes that other 16-year-olds can avoid this. So the next thing that you need to do is communicate your needs. If you haven't done it already, if you haven't made your list, make your list. Holy shit, write it down, make a list. But you have got to communicate with the other person of what you need. There are wants, there are needs that you cannot live without. There are things that trigger you, but you can live with. You have to determine what falls into what category, and you literally have to communicate your needs, which requires you to have a deep sense of understanding within the self. But there comes a point in time too, guys, where we are human. We're going to be constantly evolving, and relationships are a good tool for that, right? That's really what they're for. So it's okay to have needs. So I want to be clear on that. It's okay to have certain wants in relationships. It's your energy that will be at stake. And one issue that I ran across was actually feeling shame for some of the things that I needed. It was actually giving myself a sense of acceptance of, it's okay that I need this in a relationship, and if somebody can't provide it for me, then it's a no-go. And I have to be okay with that, because it is where I'm at in life, and this is kind of part of it too. Getting in touch with your authenticity, and that is me accepting where I'm at, because that is a part of self-love. Self-love is self-acceptance, that no matter what you are going through, it's okay. You're always doing the best that you can, and that goes with relationships. So it was very eye-opening to me on some of the issues that I've had in relationships, of understanding, wow, this is why, this is what's driving triggers and actions within myself that I don't like. I am working on myself to heal these things, but in the meantime, this other person is triggering these things within me, and it's very difficult for me to work on them while I'm in the relationship being triggered, right? So it's almost like you have to communicate this to the other person and figure out how you can resolve it, either meet in the middle, or if you need to actually pull back and have some space to then work on yourself and provide you with what you need to then maybe come back together and see if things have changed, the energies have shifted. Or maybe now it's a thing of where you set boundaries with somebody. Now you know your needs, you set a boundary, and that person either respects the boundary or it's up to you to hold it, right? And this is very, very difficult, guys, especially if you're trying to set boundaries in a relationship. You've allowed something toxic for a while, essentially training the other person in this behavior, this toxic behavior. And I'm only saying it's toxic because if it's you determining that it is for you specifically, doesn't mean it is for everybody. But something is toxic for you and your energy, and now you're asking somebody to change, set a boundary around it. It's very difficult for that person because they have been trained to think that it has been okay, especially if you've not communicated your needs at all, or if you've kind of communicated into it and just dropped your boundary or let them push over the boundary. Maybe you have communicated it and you weren't holding that boundary. That's still on you, sis. That's still on you. You're the only one that allows somebody to break the boundary. Doesn't matter if they take the action or not. You are only in control of you. If somebody breaking a boundary that you've clearly communicated, you want to say that that's their fault? No, you're not the victim, sis. You can either stay or you can go. That's your choice. That is the giving the power back to you. The other person's actions have clearly communicated their internal world. So you really don't need a response from them. To kind of like wrap up this video, since I'm almost done with my makeup, you're probably wondering, no, my cat. No. About to take out my whole lighting system here. So you're probably wondering, how do I know what relationship is for me? It's a good question. When you know someone is for you is when you have no expectations in the relationship. And this is where they say that you'll find your soulmate, because you won't be looking for them, because you essentially will be able to provide everything that you need within yourself. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying of being a boss babe, provide all the energy, like I don't need no man type of thing. I can do it all myself. And that's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is living your best, happiest, healthiest life and doing what you want in life and not expecting anybody to give or provide anything for you that you will not do for yourself, right? It's the same thing that I say with God. God would not give you or provide anything for you that you will not provide for yourself, right? The universe always meets you halfway type of thing. It's when you can do this in your own life, then you typically meet the person who then adds value to your life. And then you're going to run into the issue of you can provide everything for yourself, then do you get into a relationship? Do you want a relationship? And that's where a lot of people are like just happy being alone, because it's better than getting into a relationship and having all these potential triggers coming back again, you know, because honestly, guys, we will always be changing. We will always be ever changing, and your needs, wants, desires, what you put up with will also be changing in the relationship. And so will the other person. It's inevitable. And I think that's why people go through like these 10-year itch or something like that, is because people change. And it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. It's our nature to evolve and to change. So it's just discerning where you can meet somebody halfway, or what space you can hold for somebody during, you know, a change or a shift in life, and what can't you, right? So your soulmate essentially will be adding value to you. You will be growing together. Your energies will elevate, right? But it's not to say that there won't ever be any challenges, but they're challenges that you can work through together. You both are conscious of your own energies and your energy together to then be able to work with one another, right? Because our needs, our wants, our desires, what we put up with, all of that is going to be changing, and it will be changing if so ever we change relationships. Each new relationship is inevitable to show us more about ourselves. That's how this is designed. This is why not one relationship is perfect, but people can be more perfect for one another, right, than a different relationship. So all your other relationships just helped mold you into the person for your ideal partner, right? They taught you all these things that I just talked about in this video. And I'm somebody who 100% feels that commitment is a two-way street. Like, you both have to be committed to the relationship. When somebody doesn't commit anymore, and commitment meaning not necessarily commit as in being, you know, I'm committed to you and only you. Commitment in growing together, commitment in doing life together, and commitment in honoring that other person's needs, wants, and desires. That's commitment. It is not just staying in the relationship for comfortability, if that's even a word. Or it's not just staying in the relationship just to stay in it because you vowed to stay together. Anyways, guys, I'm sending you all of my lights and all of my love. And if you guys haven't, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notified at every new video that I post. Join the Good Vibe Tribe and honestly, get inspired with my videos. That's what they're for. I am here to help you and you guys are here to help me. It's a mutual thing here. Sending you all my light and all my love. Sat Nam.